Charlene of Monaco, Albert II, and Stéphanie's children. 3 names, 1 evening, and palpable tension. The 76th Monaco Red Cross Gala, the Rock's premier social event, once again shone brightly, but this year, the focus wasn't just on the glitz and designer outfits. No, this edition was marked by a strange atmosphere, where appearances carefully concealed a family complexity that even formal smiles couldn't completely mask. The simultaneous presence of Charlene, increasingly rare and closely scrutinized, Sovereign Prince Albert, and Stéphanie of Monaco's children, captured everyone's attention. And for good reason. Rarely has this family configuration appeared so united, or at least, on the surface. From the very first minutes, the tone was set. Charlene, wearing a sculptural gown with clean lines, made an entrance as majestic as it was intimidating. Her gaze, highlighted by discreet but assertive makeup, scanned the room with a rare intensity. At her side, Albert II displayed a calm, almost neutral expression, as if striving to maintain a delicate balance between institution and intimacy. Then appeared Stéphanie of Monaco's children, Camille Gottlieb, Pauline Ducrouet, and Louis Ducrouet, accompanied by their respective spouses. An image of cohesion, a picture that the principality has been striving to portray for several months, that of a blended but united family, despite rumors, old wounds, and meaningful silences. To understand the impact of this evening, we need to go back a few months. Charlene of Monaco, absent for many months for health reasons, had worried the entire Rock. Her return, still fragile, gave rise to much speculation, tensions with the palace, strained relations with the in-laws, marital crisis. Nothing had been made official, but the images speak for themselves. Since her return, every public appearance of the princess has been scrutinized. Her silence, her gestures, her posture, everything is analyzed like a coded message. And at this gala, observers were not disappointed. To understand the impact of this evening, we need to go back a few months. Charlene of Monaco, absent for many months for health reasons, had worried the entire Rock. Her return, still fragile, gave rise to much speculation, tensions with the palace, strained relations with the in-laws, marital crisis. Nothing had been made official, but the images speak for themselves. Since her return, every public appearance of the princess has been scrutinized. Her silence, her gestures, her posture, everything is analyzed like a coded message. And at this gala, observers were not disappointed. When Charlene joined her table, she sat between Albert and Camille Gottlieb. The choice of seats was not insignificant. Camille, very close to her mother Stéphanie, is also one of the rising stars of the new Grimaldi generation. She embodies a natural link between tradition and modernity. Her attitude that evening was particularly remarkable, warm and welcoming. She constantly showed sincere affection for Charlene. A touch on the shoulder, a meaningful smile, a word in the ear. Everything indicated a clear desire to create a bond. Charlene, initially reserved, eventually responded to these gestures of attention. Little by little, she relaxed, began to laugh, and even danced a few steps at the end of the evening. It was brief, but enough for the cameras to capture the moment. A lock of hair tucked behind the ear, a glance exchanged with Albert, a toast raised. These details, in this context, have a strong resonance. Pauline Ducrouet, renowned stylist and public figure, wore an outfit of her own creation. She arrived arm in arm with her brother Louis, visibly proud to represent the Grimaldi lineage with aplomb. Their frank and relaxed demeanor contrasted with Charlene's rigid bearing. But it was precisely this juxtaposition of personalities that made the evening so interesting. Where some saw a generational divide, others perceived a complementarity. Charlene seems to have gradually allowed herself to be tamed by this radiant youth. A youth she didn't carry herself, but which, nevertheless, could become her greatest ally in the future of the Rock. Louis Ducrouet, who recently became a father, spoke at length with Prince Albert. The two men spoke in hushed voices, occasionally punctuated by knowing laughter. Charlene, for her part, watched. She rarely intervened in conversations, but her active listening betrayed a certain interest. When the subject of the Red Cross came up, her eyes lit up. It was one of the rare moments when she spoke at length, discussing the humanitarian projects she supports, the field missions, and the impact these actions can have on young people. The audience applauded. It was undoubtedly the most sincere moment of the entire evening. The cameras lingered on another touching detail. At one point, Camille Gottlieb reached out to Charlene, inviting her to pose with all of Stéphanie's siblings. A photo that, while not immediately published, was taken by an official photographer. Charlene accepted, not without hesitation. She placed herself in the center, between Camille and Pauline. Albert, standing back, watched the scene, arms crossed, a shy smile on his lips. This photo, if made public, could become a powerful symbol, that of a family peace, of a discreet but real rapprochement. But behind this harmonious facade, keen observers have noted certain tensions. When Stéphanie appeared briefly late in the evening, the greeting between her and Charlene was quick, almost furtive. A kiss on the cheek, a polite smile, but nothing more. No extended conversation, no affectionate exchange. The two women, although sharing a common family history, seemed to continue to operate in separate spheres. Stéphanie, freer, more spontaneous. Charlene, stricter, more introverted. Two opposing worlds, brought together for a gala, but perhaps still distant. The evening continued under subdued lighting, with musical performances, speeches, auctions, and a very elegant atmosphere. But the most powerful image will remain that of this Grimaldi table, around which the old and the new, the formal and the natural, attempted to understand each other. Charlene, despite the challenges, is gradually establishing herself as a key figure on the rock. Not through exuberance, but through resilience. And this seemingly festive Red Cross Gala could well mark a silent but decisive turning point in her public and family positioning. As the guests left the room, designer gowns brushed against the marble of the sporting club, and the flashes went off one by one. One question remained: was this displayed harmony sincere or skillfully orchestrated? Is a new era dawning for the royal family of Monaco, or was this simply a moment of respite, offered to the photographers for one night? And you, do you believe Charlene of Monaco will finally find her place at the heart of this multifaceted family?